Well, greetings, everyone. My name is Suzanne Klasen, and I'm joined here on the webinar by my husband, Steve. Say hi, Steve.
Good evening. How's everybody doing?
And we are owners of CruiseOne in Sholo, Arizona, and we are a team. Lauren Klassen completes our team, and she's our Tucson office manager, and she's also a travel advisor, part of our team. So we are so excited that you have joined us for this presentation about this fabulous Arctic expedition. Of course, we are doing this in the middle of January, where some of you may be having very cold temperatures. And if you look at that picture that you see on the screen right now, that is the kind of weather that you have in the Arctic Circle during the summer. It is absolutely beautiful weather, 24-hour sunshine. Um, it is nothing like winter weather that you have in North America. So it's actually a wonderful time to visit the Arctic Circle, and it's a great time to have an adventure there. So we're so glad that you joined us live. And if you're watching our recording, we think you're going to really enjoy this presentation and a chance to learn about what it's like to visit the Arctic Circle and to take an expedition up there. So we're going to talk a little bit about Aurora Expeditions and what you can expect from them. And then we're going to share our highlights of the same expedition that we did in 2023. And then the best part is we're going to talk about our exclusive discount pricing that you're going to be able to get through our agency and not direct with Aurora Expeditions. So really, really quickly, Steve and I have been in business for almost 14 years now. We are highly experienced travel agents, both in our experience traveling around the world and with all the different cruise lines that we work with. And one of the things that we look for when we partner with our cruise companies is how well that they work with us and how well they support us and our clients. And we look for the quality of experience that they give to our clients. And that's why we have partnered with Aurora Expeditions as our preferred expedition company that we work with. Just really quickly, some advantages you have to working with our agency. We are a small family-owned business. We are on your side. We work on behalf of our clients. So you've got an insider that has strong relationships with every single cruise line that we work with. You've got all of our expert planning assistants. And we know that one size doesn't fit all. We do have a consultative planning style when we are helping all of our clients plan their dream vacations. We do have a low price guarantee. You will never, ever, ever book a cruise at a lower price directly with a cruise line than you will working through us as your travel advisors. And help is just a phone call away. You are either going to get me live on the phone or Lauren in our Tucson office or our voicemail. You leave us a voicemail, we're going to call you right back. So you're not going to hold and hold and hold in a long hold queue. We get right back to you because we are a small family-owned business that provides very personalized service. So first, let's talk about what an expedition style cruise is and compare it to the difference between a large cruise ship, because Steve and I have been on over 80 large cruise ships type cruises. And a traditional cruise, you've got thousands of guests. You have very short stays in port. I mean, your cruise ship is much as of an attraction as the destination. You've got very over the top entertainment. You've got everything from ice skating shows to Broadway shows, Las Vegas style shows, party bands, all that kind of stuff. You even have a lot of formal nights or gala nights, whatever the cruise line calls it. You're basically on a floating resort. Again, lots of people on there. And if you go to remote destinations like maybe the Arctic or Antarctica, you're only going to be doing scenic sailing just simply because the rules and regulations regulating the those protected areas don't allow ships that carry that many passengers to land in those areas. An expedition ship, especially with Aurora Expeditions, is going to carry less than 120 passengers. You are going to have a modern, purpose-built ice-breaking ship, and you are going to have complete immersion in the destination. That destination is your whole focus, your whole purpose of being there. And you're going to be focused on the wildlife, the beauty, the scenery, that whole destination. So it's a completely different approach to your vacation experience. So here's kind of how we did our transition. Summer of 2023, we had a cruise scheduled on a large, big cruise ship that was going to go to Svalbard. And we were really excited about that. Well, Norway changed the laws and they decided that they did not want to have these large cruise ships landing in Svalbard. They want to be a little bit more protected. So we decided to look around and see what else there was that was going there, and we had an opportunity to take a cruise with Aurora Expeditions. We're like, yes, this is what we want to do. And we literally took the plunge, and you will see a picture of me a little bit later. So since that was our very first expedition cruise, and then we had an opportunity, we sailed with Silver Seas, we've done the Galapagos with celebrity cruises, and we have done Iceland with National Geographic / Lindblad expeditions. We've also done some warm weather expeditions with Easter Island and Chile with seaborne expeditions. And then this year we did our dream expedition. This was Steve's ultimate bucket list. We went from Nuuk, Greenland, all the way to Nome, Alaska, sailing along the Northwest Passage. And that was another incredible experience brought to us by the folks at Aurora Expeditions. They just did an amazing, amazing job with bringing that destination to life. So who can enjoy an expedition cruise? Well, I like to say if you can play a round of golf or shop till you drop on Black Friday, you can certainly enjoy an expedition cruise. And Aurora even does make accommodations for people that are even a little less mobile than that. As long as you can get in and out of a Zodiac safely, they will make sure that you are able to enjoy that destination to the best of your mobility ability. You need to be mobile, but not extremely fit. You need to be able to climb stairs freely. And when you do the short excursion activities, you're kind of divided into three different groups. You have the long walkers, the medium walkers, and then they have a group that's kind of called beachcombers or short walkers. And you can decide which group you want to be in for that day or maybe the whole time. To do a Zodiac ride, you simply need to be able to sit for extended periods of time in the Zodiac and hold yourself upright. So again, different abilities are able to modify the activities to fit their needs and their own abilities. So when we did the Northwest Passage, there's a map of what we did. We were the 100th passenger vessel to complete that historic passage. It was very exciting for us. We actually followed the path of Roald Amundsen, who was the first European to complete the passage. It took him 3 years. It only took us 29 days. And it certainly was an adventure doing it with the folks at Aurora Expedition. They did it in a way that none of the other expedition lines were doing it that summer. And we certainly had some of the most unique experiences. Here's a couple pictures. We did see Aurora Borealis. We saw lots of wildlife. We saw spectacular sunsets and icebergs and these ice fjords that were just beyond belief. And we saw some of the grades from the Franklin expedition. Truly an amazing experience. I have a video that I want to show you that gives you a little bit of a taste of what Aurora Expedition does when they take you to the Arctic and some of the other wild places around the world that they visit. And I think this is really going to give you a good sense of what it's like to travel with Aurora Expeditions. So here we go. What I love about that video is that there was a film crew on our actual expedition that we did in Svalbard in 2023. The videos of the fox and the walrus and the polar bears with the mama and the cubs were actually filmed when we were there, and we saw all those things. So when I see that video, I'm actually getting chills because I remember seeing all those things live. So this is the expedition that we are inviting you to come along with us. It's June 24th to July 4th, 2027. We want you to come along and experience this wild and beautiful Arctic experience with us. It's going to be on the same ship that we sailed with in 23 and the one we were on last summer, the Sylvia Earle. It's the 12 Nights Svalbard Odyssey. It is round trip Oslo because they have a charter plane that's going to take us to Longyearbyen, where we will embark the ship in Svalbard. So I'm going to talk to you now a little bit about why we choose to partner with Aurora Expeditions and why we chose them to host our 2027 group. It's that destination immersion. It is that small passenger capacity. They are able to get everybody off the ship at the same time. So you don't have to do split landings. You don't have to pull into a port and half the people get off the ship and the other people wait. Nope. They are able to say, okay, Group A or decks 1 and decks 4, everybody get off. And then now everybody from deck 6 and 7, everybody off. And we're all on the Zodiacs at the same time, zipping around and going to see everything. On other expedition cruise lines that we've been in, we had Group A and Group B, and we had to stagger our landings. With Aurora, everybody is off at the same time and able to enjoy the complete experience all together. We have exclusive contracted group savings. They give us an extra savings exclusively for our agency. So it's something that we are able to offer you as an extra incentive to book with us, which we love. And then they are great stewards of the environment. And also we've had just incredible experiences with them previously. But don't take my word for it. I'm going to let you hear a little bit about Aurora from Howard, who was our expedition director the last time we were with them in Svalbard.
I would travel to Svalbard because it's an incredible opportunity to get very close to the North Pole because we can go as far north on that trip as we can on just about any trip we do, above 80 degrees for the most part. You are entering polar bear country. This is it dictates how we run our trips. It dictates how we run our landings. Everything. It's all about being in this other world. Svalbard has got the great walrus haulouts. They're just incredible. It's got beautiful walks that you can do, but it also has got after Antarctica and Greenland, it's got the third largest ice cap in the world. It's got huge bird cliffs, and it's got such a diversity of landings and history of exploration and hunting and trapping and the whole thing. It's just incredible.
All right. Now, the wonderful thing I love about Svalbard is to expect the unexpected. So this was our very first day out in the Zodiacs, and lo and behold, what did we see? Those are beluga whales. Look how close we were to those beluga whales. It was absolutely amazing. And then he talked about the walrus haul-outs. Here's some of my videos. This is pretty zoomed in, so we're really not that close to them. But look at those guys. They are absolutely amazing, amazing things like you've never seen before, and spectacular scenery. This is just one of the places that we stopped where you see glaciers as far as the eye can see. And look at the weather. You have such a mix of weather. You know, for those of you that are freezing in the middle states right now, it is better weather in the summer in Svalbard than it is in Texas and Oklahoma right now. And this is a typical glacier experience that you have. You get so up close to these glaciers, and on a beautiful day like this, it's just like a picture perfect painting. You have those beautiful reflections. I have a picture of this hanging in my hallway at home. It's just you come away with just such unbelievable memories and experiences. So let's talk about being expedition ready. Aurora is a huge winner of awards. And I talked about why we like to partner with them. They have won so many awards for being the best expedition cruise line from many, many different sources. Um, they're also a huge pioneer. They were one of the first companies to start doing expedition cruises in the polar region. They're Australian owned. They were founded by Greg Mortimer. He is a legendary adventurer, the guy Howard that you just saw doing that little talk. He actually accompanied Greg Mortimer when he did his ascent of Mount Everest. Howard was one of the part of the camera crew, so he didn't actually do the ascent. He stayed a little bit lower and filmed the part of the expedition that went all the way to the top of Mount Everest. But they are all about adventure, discovery, exploration. And they started doing these in old Russian icebreakers, and now they have these beautiful purpose-built icebreaking ships. They're a certified B Corporation, and this is a certification that means they adhere to very strict environmental standards and they meet certain certifications. So it just tells you that they very much stewards of the environment and very much responsible ownership. They participate in the citizen science program. So they're in on these remote areas and they do lots of things where they are like checking microplastic, counting birds, doing phytoplankton studies, doing all these different things. They do the happy whale program. So anybody that's on one of their ships, they take a good picture of a whale tail. You can submit it to the happy whale program and they can identify that whale and track its movement throughout the world. So just some of the different things there. Oops, let me go back to that picture. There's an example of some of the guests on board the ship doing the microplastics study. They have a lot of included activities. So these are kind of destination dependent, but these are ones that are included on every expedition. The Zodiac cruises, they have hikes and walks, they have wildlife photography lessons, expert lectures, they have bird watching. If you so choose, you can do the polar plunge. They have wonderful interpretation in any of the historic sites that you visit. And yes, a place as wild and far away, actually, as Svalbard has many historic sites that you visit, and you learn so much history about this place that is such an amazing remote destination, and yet has this rich history of exploration. And again, that citizen science program. Now, in some of their destination, they do have a lot of optional activities. This is mostly in Antarctica. In Svalbard, they have the kayaking program, which is pretty much their only additional optional activity they have there. If you choose to do the kayaking program, there's an additional fee for it. You sign up for the whole time. They do fit you with your kayaking suit and your kayak, your dry suit that goes on to the kayak. That is one of the reasons they charge the extra fee, because it pays for the wear and tear on the suits and the kayak. And you get every opportunity to kayak that you can take. I clicked too many times. There's a picture. Those are some folks kayaking in Antarctica, but there were lots of folks kayaking on our recent Northwest Passage, and there was a big group of people that kayaked when we went to Svalbard the last time. There's also hikes. This is an example of people hiking in Antarctica, but again, in Svalbard, we had long hikers, short hikers. The people that were really active absolutely loved their longer hikes that they did in Svalbard. It was quite an adventure. Expert guides, the expedition guides come from so many different fields, and there's a very large diversity in their backgrounds. They're naturalists, marine biologists, geologists, historians, ecologists, ornithologists. I mean, every field, and there's a lot of diversity in gender. They have a lot of females that are experts in their field. You would think that maybe there's more men that would go into this field, but there are a lot of women that are very adventurous and want to participate in this kind of activity, and they're experts in their field and very, very well qualified. We had one lady in our group. I don't know how many different languages she spoke, and she was a renowned historian. She was a Greenlander. She spoke at least 5 different languages fluently, and I probably more than that, at least basically. So here's a couple of their ships that they have. These again are those purpose-built icebreakers. The Greg Mortimer was their first of these Olstein X-Bow ships that they built. The Sylvia Earle, that's the one I have sailed on twice. And then this year in 2025, I believe they've already taken ownership. I did see a video of this ship sailing out of the Sydney Harbor. That is going to be the Douglas Mawson that they've just taken ownership of this year.
Yeah,
Um,
they took it back in late summer. It's sailed Antarctic season already.
Okay, yeah. So they took it, they actually got it summer of 25. So small ships, Sylvia Earle, that's the ship launched in 2019. She averages 100 passengers, but does at full capacity could carry 120. The two times we sailed on her, she was way less than 100 passengers. So quite often they sail less than full capacity. The Greg Mortimer, the other ship, is named after the founder of the company, and the Sylvia Earle is named after Sylvia Earle, who is a renowned marine biology. I wanted to tell you in this presentation, I have tried to include as much of my pictures as I can. And this is one that I took when we were at the polar ice cap in Svalbard. And again, look at that beautiful weather. June, July is the best time to go to the Arctic. You have wonderful weather there. This is your rooms. This is a long way from a Russian icebreaker. Let me tell you, these rooms are beautifully appointed, very comfortable. They have a big screen TV with all kinds of on-demand movies. You have a desk, a writing desk, very nice bathrooms. I'll show you those in a little bit later. This is the observation lounge. This is kind of up on the top of the deck. There's a nice bar there. It's very nice. Oops, I keep clicking that too many times. This is the bathroom. It has heated tile floors, and the floors in the shower are also heated. So if your gloves and your socks get a little bit wet, you can lay them out there and they dry. So, you know, if you need to dry overnight or maybe in between, just warm things up, you have that. This is the lecture hall where you have all your briefings and presentations, like this is what we did today. Here's some pictures. Here's a recap. And this is what we're going to be doing tomorrow. And then your history lectures are done here. This is a citizen science lab on the Sylvia Earle. You can see they have all kinds of microscopes and equipment there. So if you're studying those phytoplankton or whatever the subject is for the day, you can go in there and study. If you didn't get enough exercise on hiking up all those mountains and stuff, you do have this wonderful fully stocked gymnasium that you can go to. And here's the other thing, this purpose-built mudroom. This is not some little corner of some luxury ship that they've repurposed as an expedition ship. This is a mudroom that's built with your own locker for the entire purpose of you putting on your muck boots, putting on your life jacket, and getting on the Zodiacs. And literally, you step right out from this mudroom, right onto your Zodiac. So it is perfectly designed, and it is so easy to get from A to B. And you know, there's benches, there's boot pullers there. It makes it very easy. The Zodiacs are stored right there at water level, not way up on the top. So they're very quick on and off the ship. So when they pull into an area where they're gonna get the Zodiacs, it's very quick to get them off the ship and get you onto those Zodiacs. So that's another advantage of working with Aurora, is that they are very quick to go to get the Zodiacs in the water and get people in the Zodiacs. Other expedition companies don't have that advantage because their ships are not purpose-built like this. They also have this marine platform on the back, which they can use for launching those kayaks for the people doing the kayak excursions. It is super casual. We're going to Antarctica with Aurora Expeditions in 2 weeks or 3 weeks. I think it's about 3 weeks. And one of my guests called me up, Suzanne, how dressy do I need to get for dinner at night? Literally, it is whatever you have underneath your jackets. You go take your jacket off and you go to dinner. There is no dress code for dinner. You can keep your beanie on, whatever you want. It is super, super relaxed, casual. They just want you to be comfortable. There is no dress code whatsoever. They have one night where it's captain's toast. If you have something a little bit nicer, you can wear it. You know, wear your nice t-shirt instead of your nice turtleneck instead of your trashy turtleneck. It's super casual and relaxed. It's just a relaxed, comfortable atmosphere on board the ships. Again, Another one of my pictures. I mean, look how beautiful the weather is there in the summer. It's a beautiful time to go. So again, I'm going to talk about that Aurora difference, positive impact, those small ships with fewer passengers. It just makes such a big difference. They're purpose built. You get all that enrichment and entertainment. Their expedition team is so fabulous. And the amount of expedition team to guests is incredible. And they engage with you. Lunch and dinner, the expedition team sits with you and you can talk to them. You say, hey, come over. I wanted to ask you more about that geology thing that we were talking about, or that history lesson, or you just chit chat with them. Hey, what, you're from Greenland. Tell me more about Greenland, just whatever you want to talk to them about. And again, they have that great activity program. And again, more time off the ship because everybody can get off the ship at the same time. So included extras. So they do give you a pre-voyage accommodation. For this cruise, it will be in Oslo. They give you the airport transfers. So when you arrive in Oslo, they take you from I believe that, Steve, am I right in that they pick you up at the Oslo airport, take you to the hotel, or is it just from the Oslo hotel to the airport in Oslo? I'll figure it
sure.
out.
I think it's just from the hotel, but I'm not sure.
Okay, yeah, we'll figure it out. But I know that they're going to take you from at least from the hotel to the charter plane, from the charter plane to the ship, and vice versa. And then when you arrive in Longyearbyen, you're going to get a tour before you embark, because what they're going to do is they're going to take your luggage. They're going to take your luggage to the ship. And while they're provisioning the ship, you're going to get a nice tour of Longyearbyen. And it's really incredible. That's the world's most northern inhabited city. So it's really kind of a cool place to visit, get to see that. And then you'll embark the ship in Longyearbyen in this little city in Svalbard. And this is what is included when you're on board. And again, my own picture that I took when we were there in 2023. So all your shore excursions, so that pre-cruise shore excursion in Svalbard, all your Zodiac rides, all your hikes, all that is included. You get house drinks with dinner. They have Starlink Wi-Fi. So believe it or not, I actually keep my travel agency open when I'm on these types of expeditions that far north. I'm working on my computer. I worked the entire time we did the North West Passage. People didn't even know I wasn't even in my office. You get your 3-in-1 waterproof expedition jacket. So that is the puffy jacket that goes underneath, and then the over layer that's more like a raincoat, but it's a thick raincoat, real warm. You get the use of the muck boots. So you borrow those, but it's nice. You don't have to pack any kind of hiking boot or anything. And those keep you warm and dry because sometimes you have wet landings. There's a professional photographer on every voyage. So they're taking pictures of everything that you're experiencing. And then again, all the permits, charges, landing fees, anything like that is included in the price of your cruise. And I'm going to have a little bit more from our personal experience when we were there in 2023. So we're going to the Arctic, but where is Svalbard? So here's where it is. There is Greenland there. There is Norway. That's the very top of Norway, which is actually within the Arctic Circle. And here's Svalbard. So it is completely within the Arctic Circle. And Longyearbyen right there is the northernmost city in the world. So that's where it is. So whether it's a sunny day or a foggy day, it's absolutely incredible scenery. And the expedition crew is absolutely amazing because they have a plan A and a plan B. And no matter what the weather is like, it's absolutely an incredible experience. You can see no matter what the weather is like, I got incredible pictures. You can also go to see this spectacular scenery. If you look over here, that is a bird nesting condo. These seabirds, they come and they nest on these cliffs. And this is the only time they spend on land is when they lay their eggs and they raise their chicks. And this spire, this area is kind of an iconic part of Svalbard. Just like every day, it was just like an incredibly new vista of different things. And you do go to different places every single day. You do get to see these incredible Arctic birds called guillemots, and again you see them all crowded together to nest. And that is the only time these birds ever go on land. They spend the rest of their life at sea. These are walruses on an ice floe, absolutely incredible. And oops, we'll go back. Not great pictures. They're not the most photogenic animals. They're hard to get it, but when you watch them for 10, 15 minutes, it's absolutely awe-inspiring. But that is a blue whale and a beluga whale. You saw the video, you could see a little bit more of them, but absolutely incredible to see that wildlife. The blue whale is the largest animal ever to live on planet Earth. So that was incredible to see that. And then I was crazy enough, I did do the polar plunge. It was freezing, but I have a couple of videos. I think I have a picture of Ronnie. Oh, there's me.
Why did she put her life vest
Oh, I do recommend the life vest. You know why? Because you don't go as deep in the water.
Keep smiling, Suzanne.
You pop right up. So I do recommend the life vest. And just in case you forget how to.
It's the dumbest thing I've ever done.
I know. If you count the seconds I'm in the water, it's like less than 5. I was like, get me out of here. So, all right, there's my polar plunge. Now this is Ronnie. Ronnie lives in Svalbard, and he's Norwegian. I think he does that like every day. So for him, it was nothing. They do have this wonderful polar ice cap barbecue that we had. It was beautiful, incredible. So they do make it fun for you. It isn't all serious, but there are some serious moments because you are just taking in this incredible wildlife. They do have amazing food, amazing chefs. So many of the crew have worked on the big cruise lines like Celebrity and Princess. And, they say, oh, we love coming on these small ships because it's just a completely different experience. But the food is excellent. Presentation. I mean, they don't have the variety that you would have on a bigger ship because they have so many fewer people. But what you do have is excellently prepared and beautifully presented. Like I said, maybe you don't get quite as many choices, but it is excellent. Now, the next video I have just shows what it's like getting in and out of a Zodiac. Some people are like, oh, it's getting out of that little thing, the dinghy. Is it complicated? Look how easy it is. So you just grab a hand, step on the side, step on the thing, sit down. It's that easy. Then they hand you your bag. I mean, there's nothing to it. It is really a simple process. And these things are so easy to get in and out of, really easy. So this is us at the polar ice cap. And there's a little bit of our map of where we went. So the weather and the ice will dictate our journey. The captain and the expedition leader will study the ice flow and they will determine where we're going to go on our Svalbard Odyssey. So they will, when you look at the map of our expedition, it'll be just a big circle around Svalbard. And like I said, the weather and the conditions will determine where we actually go. So this one that I'll go on with you in 2027 will be completely different than what we did in 2023. There's our expedition team. They were absolutely a fabulous crew. Here's
all right. This is our room on the Sylvia Earle. There's all of our stuff, including our complimentary jacket and reusable water bottles. And then we have the nice Arctic scene here behind the bed. And then behind the sofa, we have some penguins because the ship does Antarctica in our winter, their summer. We have a nice walkout balcony here. Desk, storage. Is this a mini fridge? Yeah, we got a little mini fridge in there. Storage here. And then I'm gonna go show the bathroom. Nice size bathroom. All right. Here's a look at the bathroom. There I am. Look at there. Nice big shower. So very, very nice accommodations. Nice big closet here. I think we're going to be very comfortable on this ship for the next 11.
So yeah, the rooms are very nice, and that's the standard room size. They do have some larger rooms that are suites. They do have a couple smaller rooms as well, and they do have some rooms that you can book as a triple if you want to share with 2 of your friends and save a little bit of money. So that's also an option. Summer of our experience, destination immersion, amazing wildlife. Wholeheartedly recommend Aurora Expeditions. It is a life-changing experience. And I am not outdoorsy. I will be the first to tell you. You know, you saw that picture of me in the sequin gown at the beginning. That's my usual cruise experience. You know, roughing it for me is Motel 6. You know, like I said, I'm not outdoorsy. This absolutely changed my mind. It was like, I need to get out. I need to see the world. This is an experience that I will never forget, and I am ready to do it again because it was so absolutely amazing. So if this is something that you're even remotely thinking about, I would say step outside your comfort zone and take the plunge into an expedition cruise. You will not regret it. It's very comfortable. You can see our weather was good. It's the same time of year. Um, it's not, you know, it's not like you're going into the Arctic in the blizzard of winter. It's summer. It's beautiful, 24-hour sun. It's the perfect time to visit the Arctic. Again, this is the map of your expedition. It's a big circle. The weather and the ice conditions are gonna dictate what you'll do. And now I have a little video of Heather, who's going to tell us a little bit more about why she loves visiting Svalbard so much and leading expeditions there. I can push play. Yeah.
My name's Heather. I've been working for Aurora. This is my 3rd season, and I am a naturalist. There's many things about the Arctic that excite me, and I would have to say maybe top of the list would be the wide open spaces and the feeling that while there's been humans up here, it's very few compared to other places. And on top of that, the amazing wildlife. I love everything about working with the team. We have a lot of fun. Everybody works hard. Everybody is kind of expected to do well and do their best at their jobs. And so everybody does. If you're on the fence about coming to visit the Arctic, then I would say if you don't try it, you'll never know whether you would like it or not. So my personal advice would be go for it. I think you'll find it pretty special. One fun fact about Svalbard, goodness me, of the 3,000 bears in the Barents Sea population, only 300 of them use Svalbard, and yet still we go searching for them and often find them.
Pretty cool.
My name's Heather.
Yes, so Heather was one of the expedition guides on the cruise that we took in 23. So just to give you an idea of what you can expect, you do arrive in Oslo. You have the hotel stay there overnight. Then you fly to Longyearbyen. You're going to have a tour of Longyearbyen, then you have embarkation. And days 3 to 9, you will be sailing somewhere around Svalbard. Like I said, the expedition guide, the ice flows, the weather is going to dictate where it is that you go. And then you'll disembark, you have a little free time in Longyearbyen and fly back to Oslo. This is the category A, B, and C cabins. That's what I just showed you in that little video tour. They're going to be 224 to 301 square feet, and that's room and balcony combined. But you can see they're pretty generously sized. A couple of them are a little bit smaller. They're just interestingly configured. I don't know how to explain it. The superior balcony, there's actually some of these are accessible. Of course, the Zodiacs are not accessible. So if you do need an accessible cabin or confined to a wheelchair, you would be able to cruise, but probably not be able to do the Zodiac cruising. So you'd be able to enjoy the experience from the ship, but probably not do the Zodiac. So I do need to give that concession, but they do have an accessible cabin with an accessible bathroom. This is midship, very, very nice cabins as well. The junior suites are kind of a two-room cabin with a bed on one side and a living area on the other side, a large bathroom. And again, the captain's suite is the same configuration, but just even a little bit bigger with walk-in closet. So there's kind of a layout of the ship. You can kind of get it. There are several decks with cabins. This is kind of down here is the crew quarters. There are a couple of ocean view cabins down on the lower deck. We liked being on deck 4 because when you're on deck 4, you basically go straight out, and this is into the mudroom. So we really like being on deck 4, but there are also wonderful cabins on deck 6 and deck 7. Again, this is the map. Here's the pricing. So this is the pricing per person based on double occupancy. And this is the Aurora direct price, but this is the current promotion. And then our promotion is that we give you an extra 10% off what the current promotional rate is. So if you were to go on the Aurora site, and this is throughout the sales cycle. So whatever the early booking price is, whatever the promotion you see on the Aurora site is, we will always have an extra 10% off of that for anybody booking into our group. So this is a price per person based on double occupancy. You also have the option of doing single share. Now, single share is it where you say, I will be willing to share my room with another person of the same gender. Don't worry, these beds split apart. So you would each have a twin bed if you decided to do that. If they don't get another single share person, or they have enough rooms where they don't have to match you up, then you would end up with a room to yourself. So if they don't always have to match you up, but they do have rooms that are designated as dedicated single cabins. So with the dedicated singles, they already have a set price for you as a single that's not full double occupancy price. So they do have category C and category A singles already as a set price. If you don't have someone to sail with you, no fear, you're not sailing alone. We've got our group, you have people to hang out with, and you can already see what your price is going to be as a set single price. So that's another option. You can either do single share or do the category C or A as a fixed single price. They do have a limited number of those. That's why you don't see a category B single price there, because they've already sold out of the category B single price. Still available as single share though. So again, all these things that are included, they have so many inclusions. I don't need to go over those again. We've already kind of talked about all those things. I do need to talk about the things that are additional cost. Your air to Oslo is going to be on your own expense. If you book it early enough, it's probably not going to be super expensive. Just book it way ahead of time. You probably can do it depending on your departure city for possibly even under $1,000 a person if you're flying coach. Your gratuities for that is going to be for your housekeeping staff and your wait staff, a fixed cost of $15 per person per day. At least that's what it is now. You know, it could always change. That covers your housekeeping staff and your wait staff. You can always add to that if you feel like somebody's done an exceptional job for you. The kayaking is an add-on fee. I can get you a quote for that if you're interested in signing up for that for the whole time. And your alcoholic beverages outside of dinner are purchased at very reasonable prices. They're not exorbitant, like 3 times what you would expect to pay. They're very reasonable prices. And they even have some packages that you can buy. Like you can buy, Steve, do you remember what that was? You can buy like 10 drinks and they give you 20.
Like 10 drinks for the price of 6 or 7.
Yeah,
so you get a few drinks. They don't have any unlimited packaging like that, but you can buy 10 drinks for the price of 7 or 6. Something.
Yeah, and you buy the 10 drinks and then they just check them off, and then they tell you, okay, you bought your 10 drinks, you want to buy another package. So it's very, very reasonable. I think sometimes if you go over, they'll tell you the next day, oh, you went over, do you want to buy another package? And then you've already started with drink 1, whatever. So they're really reasonable about it. So it's pretty good. And then, you know, you're going to get the best selection if you book now because it's pretty wide open. There's a lot of cabins available. I do need to let you know, this is important. That $2,500 deposit is non-refundable. So that's super important. You know, they only have 120 spaces on the ship. They're a small company. They can't afford for people to be putting down deposits willy-nilly and then deciding, oh, I'm not going to go. You know, they need you to be committed when you book this. So that's why they make their deposit non-refundable. Now, I will tell you that they do try to work with you. If something happens in life, there's an illness in the family, something changes where you can't go to a remote destination, they have expeditions to Costa Rica and Europe. And if you let them know what's going on, they will try to move you to another expedition, like maybe Scotland or the Mediterranean, try to move that deposit to something else so you're not completely losing your money. I mean, they do try to work with you, but it is at their sole discretion, and you've got to give them warning and work with them, and they will try to make it work, but it's not guaranteed.
We've had 3 or 4 clients that had to cancel an expedition, and all 3 or 4 of them were able to move their deposit to another expedition. So they try to work with you. It's not guaranteed, but they're pretty good about it.
They gave us enough notification. It wasn't last minute. It wasn't right at final payment. You know, they gave us enough warning that Aurora was able to work with them and accommodate them. So, you know, if you know ahead of time, but I do need to tell you, absolutely that $2,500 is completely non-refundable. So no exceptions to that. And you also are required to get a $250,000 emergency evacuation travel insurance plan. It is required by Aurora Expeditions. So you do have to show proof that you have that. If you get it just specific for this trip, it only costs maybe $75 to $300. And the trick is, I can sell you a cancellation plan that's pretty reasonably priced. Don't include the cancellation and the emergency evacuation together. Do them separately. Emergency evacuation for $250,000 and cancellation separate for the amount of the trip. And then the price doesn't go crazy. If you do them together, the price gets crazy. So I can help you with booking that. We don't actually sell a policy that has that amount of evacuation, but I can point you in the right direction and help you do that. We also, now that says October 16th, but I think that we've got it moved out to February 14th. We're going to get you a $250 onboard credit if you book by February 14th. So I didn't update the slide. I went through everything. We have these webinars periodically, and I thought I had updated everything. So book by February 14th, and we're going to get you a $250 onboard credit. So keep that in mind. Let's see, again, here's that pricing. I just want to go over that again. That is the prevailing rate plus another 10% off. So if you're watching this maybe 6 months from now and you go look on the Aurora site, call me up because I'm going to be able to get you another 10% off whatever price you see on the Aurora site if you book into our group. I do want to really quickly go over some just other groups that we're escorting. I'm going to zip through these because I know your time is valuable. I just want people to know that we do more than these expedition cruises. We've got some solar eclipse cruises. So if you are excited about solar eclipses, we've got one going out of Spain this year on Celebrity. We've got some on Holland America, going out of North America and Europe. We have some Antarctica cruises in 2027, also on Aurora Expeditions, and we do have that same pricing advantage. The best price you see on Aurora plus another 10% off. We have two groups. We have one doing the across the Antarctic Circle and one doing South Georgia and the peninsula. If you are wanting to do someplace like Antarctica, but do it more on a luxury ship, we've got Celebrity and Holland America options that are just scenic sailing only. If you wanted to do something this year, we've got some Scandinavian capitals with Holland America. We can also add this Globus Norway tour to that. We've got Windstar. We've got limited availability for October 19th of 2026. Last time I checked, there were like 4 cabins left, and I don't even know if they're still there. But 2027, we have plenty of availability. Windstar is an incredible company. We have better than direct pricing, and we have locked in the all-inclusive package. A couple other Mediterranean sailings with Celebrity cruises with huge savings over Celebrity Direct, another Mediterranean sailing with Celebrity, and then another Mediterranean. We've got some European river cruises. Please call me. I have lots of different options with European river cruises. And then we are super excited about this. We have this legendary voyage with Holland America, 35 nights Tahiti, Marquesas, a traditional cruise, of course, but seeing some of these most amazing places at a very reasonable price for a 35-night cruise. Absolutely incredible.
It's round trip San Diego, so no long flights.
No long flights. And then if Northern Lights are your thing, so we're not going to see Northern Lights in Svalbard because it's 24-hour sun. You have to have a dark night sky. So we got to see a little bit of them when we were doing the Northwest Passage because we did have some dark nights. But this Holland America cruise is going to be in Norway in October. So as long as we have a dark, clear night sky, we have a good chance of seeing them. And again, a traditional cruise, but then some amazing scenery in ports there. If you want to see the American West, we have an American cruise line, Columbia and Snake River Cruise, again, at discounted group prices. And I leave you with just some beautiful pictures from beautiful Svalbard. Again, the weather is better than what we're having in the winter right now in North America for sure. These are my polar bear pictures. This is one I took myself. I'm very proud of this picture. There were some that some of the professional photographers took that were way better than this, but this was a mama with her cubs. Absolutely beautiful. If you want to have the most incredible experience of your life, come with us on this Svalbard expedition. You will not regret it. So I'd love for you to reach out to me, get a complete quote on this polar voyage. You will have the time of your life. And again, I didn't change this slide either. It's been a week. Let me just tell you, it's getting ready for this. Book by February 14th. You're going to get that $250 onboard credit. And I'll give you a personalized quote. We'll talk more about Svalbard. We'll talk about everything. I'd love to share this with you. So I just want to open up to any questions. If anybody has any questions, wants to put them in the chat.
You got one in the chat box.
We have one in the chat box. I cannot see it because I'm in the slide
How does Aurora
presentation.
compare with Lindblad and Nat Geo in price, amenities on the ship, staff to passenger ratio, experience, food, stuff like that? And then
So I've done them both.
Yeah.
I believe that the staff to passenger ratio, I think Aurora is a little bit better. Would you agree with that, Steve? They have
Yes.
more staff to passenger.
Yes.
I would say the food is comparable. And depending on what ship you're on. So Lindblad
Lindblad
has
has a couple of bigger ones that have more
they have a
passengers, so they have to do some
bigger,
splits. They also have
yeah,
some ships this size. So.
they have some ships this size. The ships that are this size are older and retrofitted, so they're not as ergonomic in terms of getting on and off. Their bigger ships are the Holstein X-Bow style, but again, more passengers and they have to do the split landings.
If you're wanting to take kids, Lindblad has a dedicated kids section of the ship, so you'll see more kids on the ship. Whereas Aurora, you tend to see less kids. They have, I think, a minimum age of 8.
Yeah, but they certainly welcome kids that
Yeah.
age and will accommodate them for sure. I mean, they definitely have. We had a young man, he was about 14, and he actually had some special needs. It's hard to exactly explain what his special needs were. He had kind of an autism and then kind of also like a genetic issue. But he was also very intelligent and he was having the time of his life. And I don't know how to explain it, but he touched us all with just how much he enjoyed the experience. He was about 14 and he was with his grandparents. And at the end of the expedition, he said he wants to work for Aurora because everybody was so nice to him, because he said at home, the kids kind of pick on him, but everybody was so nice to him on the trip. So he actually had a wonderful time. So I would say Aurora compares.
Is there a single supplement for either company? I don't remember there being single rooms with Lindblad, but as we talked about earlier, Aurora has dedicated single rooms with single pricing. So
with single pricing, I think the standard single supplement, if the single rooms were to sell out, is 50%, right? So you pay, one full fare and then a 50% supplement. But they do have those dedicated single rooms where it's not quite 50%. So, and I would say Aurora compares very favorably to Lindblad. Depending on the ship, I would actually say that this ship is superior to some of the older ships on Lindblad. And with the smaller passengers, smaller number of passengers, they don't have to do split landings. So in some way, it can be more advantageous. So I'd say that the two companies compare very favorably. And just depending on what you're trying to get out of your experience, you would have an equally good experience with either company. And I think the pricing is very similar too, Steve. It is.
yeah, I think the bigger ships are slightly less, but again, you're going to be dealing with the split landing and stuff like that. I think for the similar size ship, similar passenger, I think it's very, very,
very comparable pricing.
that was it on the questions in the chat box.
Okay. Okay. Are there any other questions? Okay. Well, I'm going to go to my next slide, which is how to contact us. So you can email me at sklasen@cruiseone.com. You can give me a call. This is my toll-free number, 855-367-4730. You can check out our YouTube page. We have videos of our other webinars that we do. We have Antarctica there. We have, just different cruises that we have our deals on and our groups that we're hosting. So be
We
sure
even
to
have a
check us
couple
out there.
in-depth Svalbard videos too, in-depth from our last trip.
Yep. I've got some highlights videos there. They're about 10 minutes each. So if you want to watch those are great to watch too. And with that, I'll go ahead and close out the recording. So thank